So, trad wives are also known as traditional wives or trophy wives, something on the internet I saw. They are women who are perfect all the damn time. Like, they have a evening gown while they're cooking everything. They have the spotless kitchen. They have everything made from scratch. And yeah, I wanted to talk about it, so let's get into it.
Game start.
Hey guys, you're on Nia Vibes. My name is Nia. It is not my real name. My real name is Nehal, but Nia sounds sassy, so yeah, that's how it is. I don't know why I'm filming this. When I was bored, I wanted to talk, and I love to talk. So on this channel, you'll just hear me talk. I don't know, and yeah, that's what it is. So. Also, this video is not to like shame or talk bad about any trad wives. Like, if you are a traditional wife in real life, there is literally no problem in it. It's just that like on the internet, people are just cosplaying, kind of like being a trad wife, like being a 50s trad wife. They're just like cosplaying. It's kind of like a play for them, and that's what it is about. Like, the whole video is about, for anyone who's like relates to being a trad wife. Like, it's not anything bad about you here. It's just that like people who have like who think this is the reality, it is not. It is just content on the internet made for a specific like amount of audience that view it. And yeah, so don't really like feel like, oh, we don't have a life like this, and how is her reality like this. It is not even her reality. So yeah, just don't take it on yourself. So for anybody who doesn't know what a Tradwife is, according to Google, I googled it. So according to Google, a Tradwife is a woman who believes and practices traditional gender roles and marriages. So that is what like it is like typically, but on the internet there are young women who dress up as like 50s housewives, like looking all dolled up and cooking and cleaning and posting that kind of content on the internet. And kind of like, as I said before, they make you look too perfect, and that's like not possible at all in reality. So
my sister's in town to visit and she was craving gum so bad, but she ran out, so I just decided to make her some myself. I laid down some wax paper and poured some powdered sugar on top, creating little wells. I then heated up my gum base and some corn syrup until it was all melted before pouring it into the wells I created. One of her favorite flavors of gum is green apple, so I made one in that flavor, and also decided to experiment making a vanilla cinnamon gum. Once the mixture was cold enough to handle, I started kneading in the powdered sugar until it got all stretchy and combined. Once it stopped absorbing the powdered sugar, I knew it was done, so I rolled it out and cut it into small pieces to make some gum balls. I started with my green apple flavor and then moved on to my vanilla cinnamon gum. Once they were all rolled into little balls, I tossed them in some more powdered sugar so they wouldn't stick before placing them in some wax paper and sealing the ends so that it would stay fresh. I repeated this process with all of my gum before it was time to try them. These tasted even better than store-bought gum, and the cinnamon vanilla flavor tasted like a donut. She was so excited, and I'm so pleased with how it turned out.
one of the most popular ones I saw was Nara Smith. She's a model and the wife of Lucky Blue Smith, and that's good for her, I suppose. I don't know. So I also watched her videos on Instagram a lot, and to be honest, it was like kind of like calming. It was not really anything problematic. It was really like good. She's just making everything from scratch, though I had a lot of questions about it. Like, girl, you're making olive oil and stuff from scratch? Like, how much time is it taking? Even there was one video of her where she made soap for her sister, like what she says in the video, like her sister came home or something, and she made soap from scratch. Like, damn.
My husband mentioned that he was craving Coca-Cola the other day, and since we were out of soda, I decided to just make him some today. making some caramel sugar by combining some sugar and water, letting that come to the hard crack stage before pouring it out and letting it cool. Once it was cold and hardened, I broke it up into smaller pieces and set that aside while I started zesting my citrus. I started with my orange and then moved on to my lemon, and lastly I did my lime. Once all my citrus was zested, I moved on to grinding up my spices, which were some cinnamon, vanilla, some coriander seeds, rose hip, some lime leaves, and some cola nut. I ground that up as fine as I could, and all of our prep was done. Now I combined the last of my ingredients, which was some water, some sugars, all of my zested citrus, some malic and citric acid, and last but not least, all the spices that we just ground up. I placed that in a pot of hot water and made sure to keep it at the same temperature for about an hour and a half before straining it through a fine mesh strainer and setting the syrup in the fridge to cool. Once it was cool, I topped it with sparkling water, but you can also use soda water, and this tasted exactly like Coke, and Lucky was so impressed by it that he had to have another glass.
No, I don't really like the claims where, like, the child asks for candy or something and she's making the whole damn candy from scratch, and not just like, I don't know, like the child just like comes in like after school or like is going to school and is like, Mom, I want this candy, and his mom is like, yeah, I'll make it. It will take 2 business days, but yeah. Yeah, it's funny, but like, yeah, it's like really funny when you think about it, like the amount of time it takes. But
My toddler stumbled into my room this morning and wanted some cereal for breakfast. She saw someone eating Fruit Loops and wanted those specifically, so I caved and just made her some. I started by combining almond flour, maple syrup, coconut oil, and tapioca flour, giving that a good mix and setting that aside. I then started grinding up some freeze-dried fruit. I went with banana, mango, raspberry, and also blueberry since that's her favorite fruit. I spooned my cereal dough into each bowl and added just a little bit more flour. I gave that a good mix, and once it all came together, it was time to form my cereal. I worked my way from the darkest color to the lightest by taking a little bit of dough, rolling it into little balls, and repeating that process with all of my different flavors. Once they were all placed on my baking sheet, I flattened them out and then proceeded to put a hole in the middle of each one. I preheated my oven and popped these in for about 8 to 10 minutes. I let them cool completely, topped them with some milk, and she absolutely loved them.
also, when I saw Narasmith's content, there's like one video where she makes cough syrup or something for her child. So, like, all the raw materials she had, like, this is not really possible to have all of that unless you have planned that you have to make a content like that. That kind of proves that she's just making like content is not exactly a real life. So everybody who's saying this is not reality, yeah, it is not. It is really not her reality, and yeah, you cannot achieve it. Literally, you cannot live a life like that. It is not possible to like literally have that raw material in the house and just randomly wake up and say, oh, my child has a cough, so yeah, I'm gonna make cough syrup, yeah. No, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen like that. I don't know. So yeah, that kind of just proves she's just making content for the specific audience that views it. So yeah.
My toddler woke up with a cough and a slight sore throat this morning, and when I checked the fridge, I realized we were all out of cough syrup. So it was definitely time for a restock. I started by peeling 1 lemon, moving on to peeling a good amount of ginger. I don't know what it is about peeling ginger, but it's always so hard for me. I poured some filtered water into my pot, added my ginger, my lemon peel, some fresh thyme, and also some lemon balm. I usually just eyeball the ingredients. I put that on the stove to simmer for about 45 minutes and then turn the heat off and just let it cool down while I get started on mixing some honey and the juice of about 2 small lemons. Sometimes I do 3. I squeeze them through a fine mesh strainer, making sure that I don't get any of the seeds in. Once my herbal mixture is warm and not hot anymore, I strain that as well, making sure to get every last drop before giving that a really good mix. And we're all done. I usually store this in the fridge, especially during cold and flu season, and give them a few spoonfuls.
Whatever I said was mostly for Nara Smith's content. There are other Tradwife influencers who like the content is kind of pushy, like they're trying to put that idea down our throats, like really they're like making videos like how to be a tradwife, what to do as a tradwife, though again there's an audience for that I suppose, and maybe like the feminists kind of are right about it because they are kind of making like false expectations for younger girls who don't know the downsides about it. And like when feminists are like commenting on videos like that's okay, but not exactly. I don't think Nara Smith's content is anti-feminism. She doesn't really like says or like promotes or like talks that much about it, like how you should be a drag wife or that you're wrong if you're a feminist or whatever. So yeah, I don't see problem with Nara Smith's content, not at all. Though whenever she speaks, it kind of sounds like a ghost. It's like I'm walking through an empty hallway and somebody whispers into my ears, kind of a sound. I don't know. It feels like she's hiding from her husband in a closet and just speaking like, yeah. I don't know. It kind of sounds like that. So other than that, I don't really have a problem. And yeah, and all the articles saying it's anti-feminism. I don't know, guys. You're just getting too much. Like you're making too much out of it. I don't know. So yeah, that's my views on Tradwife. I don't know if you've seen any Tradwife influencers. If you haven't, I think good for you because sometimes it's problematic. But if you have, please share your views in the comments and please subscribe. Bye.